Hello, my name is Warren Realrider. I'm from the Pawnee Nation of Oklahoma, an enrolled member of the Crow Nation of Montana, born and raised in Oklahoma, and currently reside in Norman, Oklahoma. My medium of art is working with sound and objects and locations. I was approached to create a response piece for Fieldworks Beyond Measure because my previous works that Oklahoma Contemporary had seen, they felt that I fit into that, the themes and some of the ideas of the exhibition. So my first response to the exhibition was, of course, to the photographs and the locations, and then moving on to reading the text and some of the bigger ideas and themes, like the collection of data and references to specific places and histories. And so I was kind of drawn to those different themes right off the bat. And through my work, I've been working with different locations and utilizing rivers as a source of materials, inspiration, and sound itself. So immediately wanted to kind of roll with that idea that I had been working on. Also had a couple other ideas that I felt fit that overall theme of working with certain objects, specifically certain types of water vessels. So the first one that popped into my mind was the metal pail, which has a specific reference for a lot of indigenous people in Oklahoma and probably across the country as an item that's used for daily use, ceremonial use, different dances. So that object I feel has a history behind it for me. So immediately kind of started putting things together to fit into what I saw Fieldworks was about and the ideas there. So I took it as what Mr. Bailey and Mr. Stewart talked about, the class that they taught and the ideas of having students. I approached it that way as like, okay, I do have a limited time. I'm gonna do something about Oklahoma. So immediately drew to the rivers that are close to me. I live in Norman. Oklahoma Contemporary is in Oklahoma City, central Oklahoma. So I have also been, all my life, kind of been looking at Oklahoma history, the history of Indian Territory, the settlement of Oklahoma, my tribe's history. So immediately the space that jumped out to me was the original unassigned lands that are located in Oklahoma that were part of Indian Territory that has now turned into different counties, cities, different spaces in modern times. But I wanted to reference that space as a just the history up to modern times, and wanted to use that to extract sources and sounds. So I found the rivers that were the southern border of those unassigned lands and part of the northern border, and also the Oklahoma River, which runs through Oklahoma City, which is a focal point of the city and has that significance. Also thinking about collecting data and data points, so using locations as data points. Decided to collect these water vessels as data points around those rivers. So I found a source for the pails, which was a Tractor Supply Company store. And this is a store that's located throughout Oklahoma. So that became a data point of where that store was in relation to the rivers. The second thing was to find another water vessel to collect the water from the rivers to use it as a source itself. So that became using the closest like convenience store to the location that I was going to get the water from. The main other data point besides these rivers that kind of define central Oklahoma and the historical unassigned lands was the highway that kind of crosses all of these rivers that runs through Oklahoma, which is Highway 77. So that was the other main reference point. I guess kind of like the rivers are sort of a XY axis. You know, the rivers cross this highway. So those crossing points became another data point space. And so I began working with those ideas, visiting those spaces, collecting sounds, making recordings, collecting the water vessels, making plans for how I was going to gather all these things and how I was going to make it work. But at the same time, also thinking of how to put this into my practice of a sound piece. So those sites and items started taking shape in an arrangement. So I plotted them out on a map, the different places I had decided to get materials and the different locations, and looking at them, like I said, as data points. I work in a technology field, so we are always like collecting data from the work we do. So kind of looked at it like that. We're always plotting graphs off of different data. And the basic idea to start with is always starting with at least 3 points of data to start to build the knowledge about a place. So I went with that idea of like, I'm going to collect these 3 different points of data, plot them on the map, and then thinking about the space here, which was decided to perform in the exhibit itself, plotted out sort of a written score as well as a visual score for myself as to how to lay things out, lay the materials out on the floor for the performance. And in writing a score, kind of came up with directions of how to make the sounds, how to move through the space. And so there's a score, but there's not really like a true composition. It's kind of there's chance once things start rolling of how it's going to happen. The one other element that I have is when I visited these sites of these river crossings was to gather just a random item from that place to bring in also, whether it references natural things or man-made things. And I felt like that was part of responding to Fieldworks, talking about humans' impact on the natural world and ecology. There's definitely that element to everything, definitely that element of nature. So that's basically the ideas behind the piece. So you'll see me performing, starting the piece, and going through specific actions that are part of this score. And the time is still also kind of fluid, trying to keep it to a certain time length, but the score is really open-ended in some ways, but very specific in others. So I hope you enjoy the performance. Thank you. Thank you.